I honestly thought last chapter was amazing, but this right here, my goodness, just let me read it. What's the matter, Straw Hat? Like, Katakuri gets up. He's yelling at Luffy. What's the matter, Straw Hat? Are you? Then there's a pause, and Luffy's like, that's right. He's laying on the ground. Finished already? And as you see Luffy laying on the ground and all that, he's finally getting back up. He's wheezing. He's coughing. Katakuri's like, yes, endure it. And stand back up. And Luffy's like, I'm going to end this. And I'm like, yo, at this part, it's amazing. It's just like, whoa, what, like this combo. Then next page comes around and Luffy's like, with this, if you. And Katakuri answers, I've already answered you. And Luffy's like, this is the end. Katakuri replies, yeah. And then Luffy's like, Gear 4th, Snake Man. Yo! Okay, it's not the fact of Snake Man that's got me hyped. Like, that's hype. That's hype. Like, that is legit hype. Okay, I'm not even gonna lie, okay? I'm not gonna lie, that's hype. But let me kind of dive into this convo between Katakuri and Luffy. Like, this honestly, people need to be aware of how amazing this conversation between Luffy and Katakuri is. I don't think many might get this final dialogue of the chapter. So, backing up to page 16 and all that, basically, as I said, Katakuri yells out, what's the matter, Straw Hat? Are you finished already? And as we know, Katakuri, he has done this every so often with fighting Luffy, that he, talks about something Luffy is going to do a couple of seconds later. He answers Luffy's question, he asks Luffy a question, he's about to do it in a couple of seconds. And that's basically what Katakuri was doing. When he says, what's the matter, Straw Hat? Are you finished already? And the reason why he said that is because Luffy was just, laying on the ground, and he says, I'm going to end this. And that's what Katakuri said. He's like, are you finished already? And then Luffy, after a couple seconds reply, he's like, with this, if you... And then he's like, I've already answered you. Basically, what this means is when Katakuri's like, I've already answered you, he's allowing Luffy to transform into Gear 4 Snake Man. Because let's look at what, Luffy said right before, Katakuri said, I've already answered you. Luffy says, with this, if you... And then he's like, this is the end. Basically, what Luffy is saying, with this, Gear 4th, if you, and I'm assuming Luffy is going to say, if you allow me. I feel like that's what Luffy was trying to say in that moment, like, if you allow me, and Katakuri's like, I've already answered you. So that's, Yo! Now, okay, let me just talk about this, okay? Because I know people are going to want to say, like, whoa, Chibi. A couple of chapters ago of this fight and all that, Katakuri didn't allow Luffy to transform into Gear 4. Yes, he didn't. However, that was a different Katakuri. That was a very, very, very different Katakuri from what we have going on right now. This chapter is amazing. It's amazing. Like, let me explain. Blow after blow between both of these characters. Their exchange of punches to kicks. It has so much weight behind it. And I'm not talking about weight as in the physical sense of going in just hurting their bodies, but the weight behind their punches and kicks between both of these two, Luffy and Katakuri, there's so much behind it. And as we know, with the last chapter, the big point of it was that Katakuri finally admitted that he acknowledges Luffy. He respects Luffy so much. He threw aside how he looks. He doesn't care how people view him. He respects Luffy too much. And that's basically what's happening here. Because Katakuri respects Luffy so much, he's allowing Luffy to go into Gear 4. Even though he could see it coming, he will allow Luffy to do this because he respects him enough. He knows this is Luffy's final attempt to try to come on top, and Katakuri will face it, and that's how he has been showing, or what he's been showing this chapter and at the end of last chapter. So, that exchange, the dialogue between Katakuri and Luffy, that was basically saying that yes, Luffy, yes, Straw Hat, I've already answered you. You can transform. I will not stop you. This will be the end. That right there Beautiful. Just beautiful. 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 I love that. Now, I want to talk about something, okay? I want to dive into something that many might not have actually really thought about when it comes to Katakuri, and how everything that is going on makes just so much sense. Katakuri, as we know, he is very, very skilled in observation hockey. He is someone that could see into the future. He's a very rare exception, according to Rayleigh, in this chapter towards the beginning. You know, there is quite a few people, very powerful people in the New World that are capable of seeing the future. And there's a lot of, you know, theories and stuff for others that could potentially be better than Katakuri, like, for instance, Shanks, but that's a different discussion for another day. The big point is that Rayleigh was talking about an opponent Luffy would eventually have to face, okay? You're gonna eventually have to probably face an opponent that can actually see into the future. And he's like, what are you gonna do about it? You're gonna have a lot of, you know, struggling to do if you're gonna fight an opponent like this. And Luffy's like, it depends on their personality, the person. And Rayleigh's like, whoa, I never thought about that. Personality, that's interesting, very strange. And to kind of, like, explain what that meant is that Luffy, since he is so exceptional at reading people, he can understand their emotions, he is able to appreciate someone, very similar to what Katakuri's doing. Both of these two, you know, Luffy and Katakuri, they have had, like, a bond of respect. They both respect each other, and as I said, you can't even call Katakuri a villain anymore. And he's not even really an antagonist anymore, he's like just a rival. He's literally just a rival to Luffy at this point, and They respect each other so much. They legit do. I feel like if Katakuri had some form of transformation, Luffy would probably allow him to do it as well, because they just respect each other. Like, this is the first fight Luffy's really had to where it's just like, it's respect. It's literally respect between men having their duel, and they're going all in. And basically, what was being explained here, what Luffy is saying, like how it depends on the person, their personality, is that he is able to probably read someone and use observation hockey if he can understand their personality. See, that's a big thing we gotta remember here, okay? Luffy is able to detect emotions and how people feel, even sometimes unconsciously, but he's able to detect it a lot easier than regular observation hockey, for instance, Katakuri. And so, when you think about what we saw in this chapter, when you saw, you know, Luffy closing his eyes, and you see the punches of Katakuri coming in, that's basically Luffy seeing Katakuri's emotions. Since right now, Luffy and Katakuri, they're very similar in terms of technique and form, and they both respect each other, obviously, Luffy understands Katakuri as a person. He understands what he's thinking, and he respects him a lot. And so because of that, he's able to understand what he's going to do, able to see his feelings coming in. And so Luffy, in that moment of the chapter when it's solid black and you see Katakuri coming in with his punches, it's not that Luffy is seeing into the future, he's actually just seeing the emotions from Katakuri, which makes complete sense, since they both, like I said, have formed like a bond. They are both respecting each other in this fight. Now, this is something that I need to dive into when it comes to Katakuri's side. Besides Luffy and how he's able to kind of now start to match up with Katakuri because he's able to see and read his emotions, Katakuri as well, he is someone that, obviously in his fighting style, being able to see into the future and having to use observation hockey and focus on someone, it makes him very, very, you know, a type of person that will obviously start to respect someone that he actually admires. For instance, Luffy. Because think about Katakuri's fighting style, okay? Besides the mochi and stuff and his devil fruit, I'm talking about how he observes people. He's been observing, you know, Luffy for a very long time, okay? Since, you know, he really encountered. He's been observing Luffy and not really underestimating Luffy. And that's just how Katakuri is as a person. And the more you watch someone, the more you pay attention to their movements and how they act, their character and all of that, you might come to respect someone. Luffy has a way with people. We have seen this many times throughout the series, that Luffy has a way with people to where he can get them on his side or make them respect him in some way. And that's basically what happened here. Katakuri, he's feeling all of that. Everybody that's ever respected Luffy throughout the series, Katakuri is getting that, but times 100, because he's having to pay attention to Luffy consistently, second after second after second, for hours. This wasn't just like a little fight. This has been hours upon hours. Even in this chapter, time is a very big factor. Time is constantly popping up. Multiple hours pass in this chapter, and that's just how crucial this chapter was. Just so much progression with the time. And because of this, Katakuri's been paying attention to Luffy's moments for hours, and it slowly made it to where he started to respect him to the point to where he couldn't deny it anymore. And that's why he was able to throw away his looks and all that. He didn't care what people thought about him. And this is basically his weakness as a person. It's a character flaw, but at the same time, it's a very honorable thing because of the type of character he is. Because he's paid attention to Luffy so much, he's been watching him him, he is able to come to the point to where he just respects him. And now his emotions of respecting Luffy are just leaking out and all that, and Luffy understands that, and that is how, Luffy's able to, actually see him, actually understand what he's going to do next. So that's a really, really epic thing in this chapter, and I just commend Oda for that. I truly love stuff like that when it comes to One Piece, and just Katakuri as well. As I said, he's easily my favorite character since the New World, and he's probably my favorite fight I've ever seen Luffy be in. Like, this is definitely my favorite fight, because it's just on a whole new level. I know many like to compare this Katakuri and Luffy stuff to, Rob and Luffy, but I want to say no. This is actually a completely different case. We have actually never really seen a fight like this in One Piece, because in Rob and Luffy's case, that was a straight up, like, not just a regular brawl, but Rob did not respect Luffy at all. He did not respect Luffy. He just wanted to get Luffy out of there and then get back over to Rob and all that and finish what he was going to be doing. He didn't care about Luffy. He didn't respect him at all. But Katakuri is completely different. The exact opposite of Rob. And that is basically what's happening. I don't think the Rob and Luffy thing is very similar to Katakuri and Luffy, because after seeing these chapters, I just can't say that. Now, getting into the final panel, okay? I know I've kept you guys waiting long enough. Let's talk about that Snake Man, okay? Gear 4, Snake Man. That right there. That right there, I don't even know how to feel about that, because we've seen, Battleman, okay? Bounce Man and all that. We've seen, his traditional Gear 4 when he went up against Doffy. And we've also seen, Tank Man, which was up against Cracker. We have seen his different forms, okay? And Tank Man, basically, that form only really happened thanks to him consuming so many biscuits thanks to Cracker. That was the only real reason why Luffy was able to have a form just like that. But regardless, though, we have seen two forms of Gear 4, and this is a new form coming up, so we don't really know what to expect in design-wise. Now, we can make speculations, but we don't really know exactly what to expect at all. Now, my personal thoughts of whatever Snake Man Gear 4 could possibly be, obviously, I think Luffy is going to be able to move around like a snake. Maybe Gear 4 is going to have an increase in speed, maybe leg muscles, or maybe Luffy will be able to freely wobble around any way he wants. For instance, when you think of a snake, okay, a snake has no limbs. It's able to slither through the grass and all that very quick, and just has free control of its body, basically. And I feel like that's basically what Snake Man Gear 4 is going to be. Luffy has free control over his body to where he's like a snake moving around and all that. He can, like, move, dodge, and just wobble in a very weird way, and he's also a lot faster than normal. I feel like that's what Snake Man's gonna be, but also, I feel like it's gonna be a reference to Boa Hancock and the Medusa sisters and stuff. I feel like it is reference to that, Snake Man, because we do know that Luffy, time and time again throughout his journey throughout One Piece, he has taken techniques that he has shown, and he's taken them for certain events that's happened in his life. For instance, King Kong, Gatlin, and all that. He's taken it from his time when he was training with Rayleigh. I mean, all these little things we've seen in the names he calls his attacks, he's always done something to a reference to someone else, or, just something he's had to encounter. And I feel like maybe Snake Man, Gear 4 might reference the, Boa sisters and stuff. I feel like that's that's being done, because Luffy had a big change after that event, and I feel like it would be a good reference too, because remember, the Boa sisters, they are like snakes, and on top of that too, I feel like if there is something that Luffy can do with Snake Man, if he's going to be able to freely control his body moving around, it would make sense if he's able to do some really wacky things. You remember, in the fight when Luffy was fighting the Medusa sisters, the sisters are actually able to use their hair and all of that and control it. You remember, that was a big thing we saw, and I wonder if Luffy might be, like, completely in control of his body in Snake Man form, and Snake Man, Gear 4. That could be what's being implied here, but that's just me speculating, because anything can happen right now, but that's what I think Gear 4, Snake Man could possibly be. Now, let's get into the actual little details, the nitty-gritty details of the fight of Katakuri and Luffy. So, overall, besides it just being a beautiful and symbolic fight between these two individuals, the action is just incredible. Like, you see right at the beginning of the chapter, Luffy, he's taking hits from Katakuri, and he tries to block with his haki and all that, and you just see Katakuri just smash him right into the arm, and Luffy's hand starts throbbing, because, obviously Katakuri's haki is even better than regular, Luffy's haki. Not just observation, but other forms of haki as well, and Luffy's arm starts throbbing and hurting, which shows the level of Katakuri. And he continuously takes blows from Katakuri, and just to to remind you, Luffy's been taking hits like this from Katakuri for hours now. Hours upon hours. This isn't just like, a 10-minute brawl to a 30-minute brawl. This isn't something like that. This has been a full day thing basically going on with Luffy going up against Katakuri, taking blow after blow and getting hit and all that, and you saw how his hand was throbbing and all that. It was horrible. And then right after that, we got to see a little nod to Luffy. As we know, Luffy has, Red Hawk and all that. He has his ability to cause, like, fire on his limbs and stuff. We've seen that. It was always a reference to Ace. And we see Mochi Boy. We get to actually see, Katakuri. He uses grilled mochi in this chapter. And he has fire coming off his mochi hand, and he smashes Luffy, which, that right there, respect. I love that. I love that. I love that design. Because, once again, one of the big things about the site, besides just the honor stuff going on, once again, Katakuri showing that everything he does, he's technically better than Luffy. He's able to replicate it. For instance, grilled mochi and then Hawk from Luffy. We get to see the similarities there. And that was just really cool. I was really happy to see something like that in this chapter. I also really like the kick that Katakuri did when he kicked Luffy and all that with his boot, and you saw Luffy just, get hit back. That was a really, really cool scene of the chapter. Probably one of my favorite panels, actually. I'm not even gonna joke. In terms of action-wise, that was probably my favorite panel. Besides the Luffy closing his eyes and, seeing Katakuri coming in with his attacks. That's a, obvious panel I liked. That's probably gonna be thumbnail, by the way. But, anyways, getting back on topic, though, just to kind of conclude the Katakuri and the Luffy stuff for here now, I'll get into the other stuff. The fight is just epic. It's beyond words, okay, at this point. And since I have been watching the anime quite a bit and all that, and I finally caught up, I cannot wait to see this stuff animated in the anime. I'm really excited to, actually see Katakuri, my boy, Katakuri, go in and see him animate and find Luffy. It's gonna be amazing. It really will. But, great fight. Very great fight. A lot of progression. I like the honor between these two, and I'm glad there is no break for next week's chapter, so we get to see the continuation of this fight. So, let's move into the other scenes now. I think I've kept you guys waiting for the other little details of this chapter. Now, these other scenes I'm going to be talking about, overall, they're not really that major. They're more status updates. There is progression, but they're more status updates, and so I don't feel like this segment of the video is going to take that long. So, moving into Capone, basically, we get some clarification on what's going on with Capone and all that. He's, moving a little bit further away from the Straw Hats. He's going to Puff Island to lead Big Mom away, and we get to see that Big Mom, after chasing Capone even longer, she's skinny down even more. I mean, she looks creepy. Like, she looks like a witch or something. Like, she's scary. Like, Big Mom looks really heinous at the moment, and I'm curious to see how skinny she's really going to get as this continues. But there is a little detail that is talked about when it comes to Big Mom. Apparently, you have to where Prometheus, the big son, he is actually going very slow. He's very sluggish right now because of his size and all that, and I don't feel like it's just the size and him, slowing down. I feel like it has something to do with Big Mom because, she's, getting hungrier and hungrier. She's starving. I feel like something like that's being done. For instance, it's slowing down Prometheus, which I wonder what's happening there. I wonder if there's going to be a change in Prometheus and Zeus and stuff very soon. We'll see where that's going to go. Now, next scene, we go over into, Sanji and Pudding. Now, this scene, very quick. Basically, Pudding has a little bit of a convo with Sanji. She starts blushing, and Sanji basically saying, I'm going to save my captain, all that. I will save my captain. So, next part, we have to where there's a bunch of the Charlotte family, Big Mom's family. They're, coming together, and they're trying to get ready for Luffy and the Straw Hat crew and the Sunny and all of them to get there. And it's a massive fleet. And there's a little piece of dialogue in this page that just made me laugh a lot. You had to where one of Big Mom's family members is like, how many soldiers are coming? Tens of thousands? How many? And so it's like, around less than 10 are coming? And then it's like, are you kidding me? I'm going to sleep. Wake me when something happens. And I'm just like, I won't even hate on the dude that said that. I can't even hate on the dude that actually said that because I know it's the Straw Hats. I know they're our main characters, but getting the entire fleet of Big Mom basically there just to handle less than 10 people, obviously, if you haven't been seeing what the Straw Hats have been doing, you wouldn't be really aware of it. You'd be like, just like, really, you're bringing out this many people just to take down less than 10 people? That's just ridiculous. And so, I won't fault the man there. I legit won't fault the man, but I thought that was a very funny scene. Now, there is a bunch of characters that are introduced in this part. Now, depending on how relevant they're going to be, I don't know. I don't know how relevant some of these characters are going to be, but if there is one character that's obviously going to be relevant from the new ones that were introduced in this chapter, it's definitely going to be Snack, one of the former Sweet Commanders. Yes, you heard me right. Apparently, the Sweet Commander that, Mad Monk fought a very long time, he is alive. I was always under the impression that he died. I always thought Mad Monk possibly killed him because we haven't seen him. We haven't really seen him besides him being mentioned that he was defeated. I figured he was dead, but since he was a former Sweet Commander, so yeah. And you see that he is still alive. His bounty is very low. Very, very low. I think Pero actually has a higher bounty than Snack, so that's just like, okay, so I mean, it seems like, looking at it, Snack may not be as impressive as the other Sweet Commanders, but I do think he's a very relevant character, because Oda wouldn't just introduce him like that at this stage in the game if he wasn't important. I feel like he's gonna have something to do with Katakuri. I don't know if it's just me, but I feel like Snack, when Katakuri, whatever happens to Luffy, if Luffy wins or loses, I feel like Snack is gonna have a big part to play when it comes to whatever happens to Katakuri after this arc. It's just, that's the feeling I am getting, because we don't really know much about him in the first place, Snack. So, speaking of which, we move over into the Straw Hats, and you see an attack coming in towards the Sunny, and, Jimmy manages to turn the ship in a way to get it out of harm's way like that. And it's thanks to him being able to turn real quick, being really good at navigating the ship, and also Nami being able to help him out and telling him what direction he needs to move into. And this attack is also coming in from Smoothie. So that is very surprising. Smoothie is actually doing something. I mean, okay, I know it's been a big meme in the community for a while when it comes to Smoothie, one of the Sweet Commanders, because, I mean, she's never really done anything. Every time we've seen her, she hasn't really done anything. I mean, she seems so cool. She has a really good design. She has a really cool devil fruit. But every time we've seen her, it seems like she just hasn't done anything. She's been very useless in this arc. And finally, she is doing something in this chapter. You see her actually attacking the Straw Hats. The Straw Hats are having to dodge. They're on, at the end of the ropes and all that. It's really cool. But I like that. I like how Smoothie is actually doing something. But let's talk about her design for a second. So Smoothie, she's gotten a lot taller. She's gotten a lot taller. Now, I know she was already tall because she was a part of the Long Leg Tribe, but we see that she is a lot taller in this chapter. And Brooke even mentions, like, is she a giant? Now, I doubt, Smoothie is a giant. I truly doubt that, because that's a big thing when it comes to Big Mom. She wants, giants in her country. She wants the, have the ability to turn people into giants for she could eat at a dinner table or have a tea party with her children and have equal eye level with each other. That's been a big thing about this arc. So, I don't think Smoothie is necessarily a giant. Now, for her to be a Long Leg Tribe, I feel like that's probably the reason why Big Mom has such an interest in the Long Leg Tribe, because they're a lot taller than the average person, and so she's not having to look down as far. I feel like that's the relationship Big Mom has with the Long Leg Tribe, but that's a separate discussion. The big point here is, though, is Smoothie has gotten a lot taller, and the only thing I could assume, because of everything that's been established with her, because she's, her devil fruit, as we know, she's able to kind of squeeze the juice from people. She literally, like, squeezes people like a sponge or a wet rag or whatever, squeezes the liquid out of people. And when you think about the devil fruit, you're like, that doesn't make much sense for, Smoothie to get taller, unless either someone else's devil fruit is causing her to get like that, or she's doing it to herself. And the only thing you could actually get from this, and what I think is going on, is that Smoothie most likely is getting taller because of her devil fruit. Let's go into the details. As I said, she's able to kind of squeeze the liquid out of people, like a rag or a sponge. Now, what can a sponge do normally? It absorbs liquid and lets liquid out. So what if Smoothie was a sponge, basically, and she's able to absorb a bunch of liquid, and she can get a lot taller, like a sponge, and how a sponge expands? That's what's happening to Smoothie. She's expanding because she's absorbing more liquid inside of her, which would explain why her sword was dripping liquid off of it in the chapter. That's what I'm assuming is going on and why Smoothie is getting much taller. Now, there is something I do want to point out. Now, this is nothing relatively important. This might not lead to anywhere at all, but this is just food for thought. If you noticed, all of the Sweet Commanders that we have seen thus far, I mean, we haven't really gotten a good full glimpse of Snack yet. We need more details on him. But, I mean, from Smoothie, Katakuri, and Cracker, have you noticed that there is a consistent theme with them? Like, or only one stands out, okay, in terms of their theme. As we know, Big Mom, she wants the ability to have people at her isle. I've already mentioned this in this video, and many other videos before this. if you noticed, Cracker, in terms of how he was as a person when he was introduced, in terms of like his biscuit armor and all that, he was very tall. And when you look at Smoothie, she's also able to absorb liquid, I'm assuming, to get a lot taller. And you notice there's a consistent theme here, that the Sweet Commanders are able to get around the same size as Big Mom or taller than her. And the only person that we've seen that really hasn't been able to do that, or capable of doing that, is Katakuri. And I wonder if that's the reason why Big Mom doesn't really like him much. Besides his face and all that, like how he looks, maybe that's the reason why Big Mom has shown she doesn't really like him, because, you know, he is not the same size as maybe what she wants. For instance, you know, from her other children, like, you know, how Smoothie is, or Cracker. Now, like I said, I don't know if this is going to go anywhere. I just wanted to point it out that there is a theme there, and I do wonder if that has to play with, the reason why Big Mom treats Katakuri so bad. So, yeah, I feel like that's pretty much it when it comes to the chapter. I mean, I guess another little detail is Chopper and Carrot's combo. I mean, Carrot's woken up, and Chopper's like, you know, little sis, and I like that exchange. It's showing that Chopper is warming up to Carrot quite a bit, and even starting to call her little sister. I find that very cute and adorable, but that's pretty much it when it comes to this chapter. So, yeah, I'm going to end it there. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And I love you guys. Please be safe. Chibi out.